Welcome back. One of the things I thought that I'll take some time just to get sorted out was this pedal assembly. Now, yesterday I naively thought this shouldn't take too long, just take these pedals out, get them ready. Turned out to be a lot harder than what I thought, and I'll show you why. This pin here, which I thought just would slide out, the clutch would slide out, didn't happen like that. So I started removing the bracket thinking, okay, maybe this bracket comes out. I ended up resorting to some Facebook groups and asking some questions. I got a bit of a mixed amount of responses. Some people chop theirs off, some people have just been able to remove the pin. I think today the approach I'm going to take is to bolt it all back together and see if I can get the clutch out with the pin, which I do understand that that pin is part of the clutch assembly. Still not 100% sure how it comes out, but I'm hoping that by today we'll get these out and have this pedal area ready for the new pedals that need to go in here. As I'm putting this pedal support bracket back in, it was actually pretty tricky to get it up against the firewall. So what I've done is I've actually put a bolt through this side, just so that way I can get it squared up there, because there was no chance that I was going to be able to get those bolts to line up. So I've put the bolt in through this side. Hopefully that's going to hold it in place while I work the bolts from the other side there. Now, for anyone that's familiar with working on these trucks, we know that these clutch return pedals can be a beast to get off. I've not worked on these before, but just on other vehicles, anytime when there's a spring involved, it can be really difficult, especially when it's a big one like this. And according to what I saw online, a lot of guys have trouble getting these off. So I want to share what I ended up doing was I released the limit little pad on the clutch pedal that limits how far the clutch comes forward, which means I was able to bring the clutch all the way up to the dash. By the time it was up, it released almost all the pressure on the spring. Now the spring wasn't under tension, but it was still had a little bit of margin where it was hooked onto the back of the pedal. So what I was able then to do was, and I took the cluster out so I could see what I was doing. I had the clutch pedal all the way forward. I got another sacrificial screwdriver here, which we're told not to be used as pry bars or chisels, although I'm pretty sure most of us have a collection of screwdrivers we use as those. And I was able to hook it from the back of the clutch pedal and essentially work it off that way. Now, as you'll see, I did get a little injury in the process. That was not from this, that was actually from me trying different approaches. I was trying to pop the spring off, screwdriver slipped, I ended up banging on one of the metal brackets underneath, which didn't tickle. So yeah, what I worked out, clutch all the way forward, take the limit off it, get this kind of hooked behind there, and then I was able to feed it off the clutch pedal inside the dash. It didn't jump out at me, it didn't break a window, anything like that. So now I've just got to work out how to get the rest of this pedal assembly out. Not sure if this is the correct way to do it, but the most progress I've been able to make on this thing at all was by taking a sacrificial screwdriver and actually, I think there's like a spot weld up in here. I was able to get in there. Now it looks like that clutch little lever thing is starting to come off that shaft, which there's more progress. Oh, there we go. Rock and roll. Now I just need to work out this next bit. Yeah, you can see it was spot welded there, so that got that bit off. Now I just got to get this next bit off without damaging it too much. Success! Finally got it out. I wish I knew yesterday what I know now, and let me show you how I worked out how to do this without having to remove the inner structure. Tie rod puller. So, firstly, I didn't need to separate these two pieces here. These two pieces that go together on the end of the little shaft, didn't need to separate that. I thought that was going to get me somewhere. It didn't. They were kind of spotted together. They could have stayed together this whole time. I didn't know. I wish I knew. Once I had the castle nut and the pin out and the castle nut off, all I really needed to do was take the spring off, which we worked out how to do that pretty easily, take my tie rod puller and put the tie rod puller over this guy, it makes sense once it's in the car. Turn on it, gave it a couple of turns, and that just started to slide off. I don't know if there's a taper on here that causes it to be firm. I can see that this won't easily slide back on. I'm sure you can probably do the same in reverse and press it back on. I almost got out the Sawzall and just chopped it off, but I didn't want to do that in case someone can use this for a manual conversion on an original truck. So tried to avoid that. I did damage the thread a little bit. That wasn't from using the tie rod puller. That was from when I initially gave it a tap with the hammer, thinking I could just slide it out and it was going to give, and it didn't. It crushed the end of the thread there a little bit. So whoever ends up using this next time, I guess is going to have to repair that. But it came out, pedals are out, no more injuries, and I think it's time for a cup of tea.